100,000 kilowatt hours annually. So he got one on us, but it's all good. Some decent take on it. I think it was like $16,000 of the commissions on it. So, all right, let's get started. Let's go. So, today I wanted to talk about transitions. So, if you're new and you've got the front end pitch down, I imagine where everybody's struggling is the transition. So, and I've worked with people, and people do get stuck on the transition. I'm going to give you the basis for transitioning, okay? And I want everybody should be writing this down, because there's a moment in time when you can transition, and you can't transition before you've done something. So the main part when you're transitioning, whether you're transitioning, asking them to getting them to go get the bill, and then also transitioning to getting them to set the consultation, there's a key ingredient before you're able to do any of that, before you're able to get the customer in alignment with actually doing stuff. And that's the principle that if you've delivered value, you've earned the right to ask. If you've delivered value, you've earned the right to ask. So what I've done and what I've seen a lot is that we will transition too soon before we built up the value on why these guys should do it, why they should even care. And so a lot of you guys, and myself included, have probably asked for the appointment too soon. We got to the door, we did our 2-minute, 3-minute presentation, and we went ahead and asked for the bill, or we asked, hey, I have a Tuesday or Wednesday, which day works better for you? And the customer's like, whoa, hold on, hold up. And even on the close, if you haven't done it right, if you can't jump and ask for their business if you haven't built them enough value. Here's the thing, the value proposition we're doing is, if you can make the value proposition valuable, then people will pay for it. But if you have not made the value proposition higher than the risk that they're going to take, nobody's ever going to make a decision to pull the trigger, to set the consultation, to get the bill, or to sign the paperwork. So our job as sales professionals is to build enough value. Now, what I think is happening, I'm thinking that, and I've knocked with a few guys, you're building enough value, you're building some value, but not enough value. You're not getting a good enough interaction from the client. And so you have your script rehearsed, where you're going through the process and the motions, and you're telling them, how this works, and you're you're building the pain. But there's a tip that you're not doing. And then, or you're continuing to deliver value after you should have been asking and transitioning out of the value proposition. So the main way you determine this, I mean, this is going to really come down to wisdom and putting in reps on when you should be able to ask for this. If you're getting a good interaction from people and they're asking buying questions, you answer the questions, you make sure it's resolved, and then you're going to ask for their business. So I'm going to assume that all of you know how to add value and build up enough value that when we're asking for their business, that you guys have built up enough value where you can ask for the business. So the best way to transition is what? I talk about this all the time. How do we transition?
Ask a question.
That's right, Big B. We ask a question. So, and this is usually after a pullback. So I'm going to do a pullback right before I transition out. So for me personally, I'm always doing a pullback. So if I'm in the close, I'm be like, hey, what did you guys like best about this? What did you guys like best about the proposal here? What were the pros and the cons? Well, I liked this, I like this, I like this. If they give you all likes and they don't give you any negative, it's time to move forward. Now, if they give you a negative, maybe you have to be able to answer whatever that concern or that objection was or that question was. And then you're like, absolutely, I understand. Hey, this is a very long process. We have to come out here. Let me tell you what's going to happen. We have to come out here. We have to do your site survey. We have to do a roof inspection. We have to make sure everything's in alignment. We send this back to the engineers. They do the CAD design, assuming your roof passes. from the CAD design, we're going to submit to your HOA, we're going to submit to the city, and we're going to submit to SRP or the utility company, whatever utility company that is. It's a very, very long process. I want you guys to be prepared. It's the one negative with this. So there's a bunch of stuff that can happen in between now and then. And by the way, this is going to take 3 months, 2 months to get it installed, and it's going to take a month to get it activated. So the first step here is what we need to do is we need to make sure that you qualify. We're going to do a homeowner's D check. We are going to do a credit check, and I'm going to make sure you don't have any warrants for your arrest. Now, the other part of the equation with the transition, and I'll get into the set here in a minute. I'm going to get into the set here in 1 second, but let me just finish this out. Is if you've added enough value, you assume that the customer wants to move forward. If you've had a good interaction with these people, you've had a good response, you see that they're interested, you have to assume it, and you have to be very assertive, and you're not asking for permission. At this point, what you're doing is you're assuming, of course, they want to move forward and sign the paper. Of course, they want to sit down with us and see what the numbers look like. I did a really good job on building value. You're not asking for permission. You're telling them with an assertive, confident tone. You're not asking with an upward tonality. Hey, so what we want to do is we want to actually just set the consultation. Would Monday or Tuesday work best for you? Like, you don't want to finish with an upward tone. You want to finish with downward tone. Hey, I know that you guys are super interested on looking what this, on seeing what this looks like. I have Monday, Tuesday. Which day is going to work best for you? So like there's an immediate, I'm assuming the sale, I'm assuming they're going to want to sit with us. I'm assuming all of these things. Now, if you didn't build enough value, guess what's going to happen? The customer's going to stop you dead in your tracks. A lot of times, if you assume, if you presume the sale before you built up enough value, not only will they stop you, but now they're going to feel like they're being pushed into something. So there's a little bit of wisdom on knowing when to actually do this. A lot of you guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you to always assume the sale. I assume every single person I meet with wants to be able to move forward. Every single person I meet with, every single door I knock on, they obviously want to set the consultation, because if they knew what I knew, they would have already done this. I'm assuming that everybody wants to do this. I'm assuming that everybody wants to move forward. There's no reason why they wouldn't want to move forward. We're offering an energy solution to their life that gives them absolute certainty, predictability, better quality of life, massive amounts of savings. And so I'm assuming that everybody, if they knew this, they would want to do this. And so when I'm leveraging my tonality, I'm assuming the sale. This is the other part of the equation. Once you built the value and you've seen the interaction, you understand and realize that, of course, these people want to move forward. Of course, they want to set the consultation, or of course, they want to sign the paperwork and get the process started so they can begin. The transitional question, if you're on the door, like you built up enough value, what you're typically going to do is like, absolutely. So, and what I'm going to do, the pullback that I'm going to do here on the doors. Hey, before you get super excited, I know you're really excited right now. But listen, I'm not going to work with you if I can't save you money from day one. I'm not going to work with you if there's any out-of-pocket expense. I won't know until we run this report. What we do is we send this back to the engineers, and they're going to let us know. No news is good news. If I'm not calling you and letting you know, that's good news for you. If I'm calling you up in the first week, your roof didn't pass or you didn't qualify. So go grab the utility bill. I'm going to finish entering in the information so that we can get this process started. When they go grab the utility bill, I'm going to be like, okay, I have today, I have later on today, or I have Saturday. Which day works better for you and the spouse to be home? And so now immediately I've just asked it and proposed, and now I'm transitioning out. Now, at this point, if you built up enough value and these people are interested, like, you will not have any resistance. And now, as long as you're being assertive and assumptive, you're going to be able to transition this all the way to the close. Now, immediately transitioning, now you've got let's just play this out for a little bit. Now you've got the consultation, you set the appointment. They're like, yeah, let's do it tomorrow. 10 a.m. works good for me. I can actually do this tomorrow at 10 a.m. So awesome. I'm super excited to be able to share this with you. If the report doesn't look good, I'm not going to come back. But if you don't hear from me, I'm going to be back to the house and I'm going to show you how the program works. What are you most excited about when we come back? This is my final question I'm asking these people before I leave the house. What are you most excited about? This is a transitional close to leave the house and to end it with an upward something that they're looking forward to. So something that they're excited to see. So they're only going to remember. You got to understand, most people, all of the information we give them, whether you're in a sit or whether you're at their door, they're only going to remember the beginning, the first 30 seconds, and they're going to remember the last 30 seconds. So make sure to make those very impressionable. Okay. So, okay, great. Hey, we're going to do this, this, and this, and this. And what are you most excited about when we come back to the house? Now they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you. And so now when the closer comes in there, they don't have to be like, hey, why did you guys want to sit with us? I don't know. He made me. This guy, he made me. That's the worst answer I ever get. I get that all the time. People are like, I don't know. He's just at my door. I'm like, yeah, but what were you most excited? Why did you agree to sit with us? Is it just because someone came to the door? Do you let everybody come and sit with you that comes to the door? Or is there something particular that you were excited about? And a lot of times, if you've done this on the front side, listen, a good set is a good close. So if you're setting good quality appointments, this is going to prepare the customer for what we're going to do when we come into the house. And it's going to let them completely know what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it. And so like now they're going to tell you, oh, well, I wanted to see the savings. He talked about certainty. He talked about some predictability. He told me I could use, or they told me I could use as much energy I wanted, when I wanted, how I wanted. This is exactly why I'm doing it. And so like at this point now, what we're doing is we're transitioning out to the close. And now what we're going to do is like, great, I'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. We're super excited. We're super excited to share this report with you because we're going to give you absolute predictability for the future. So we're going to hedge you and protect you from this future inflation. On a close, it's going to be the same thing. So on the close, like once I'm done, I'm like, great. Hey, thank you for letting me help you today. I appreciate you letting me help you today. What are you most excited about once your solar system's activated and it's operational? What are you most excited about? And they're going to tell me, well, I'm most excited about the savings. I'm most excited about this. I'm most excited about that. It's a reiteration of like, hey, what did you like best about this proposal? And they're going to remember the first 30 seconds, the last 30 seconds. And now I'm transitioning close. Hey, I appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. I appreciate you guys. Site survey is going to be out here on Sunday. Looking forward to it. Just to let you know, they're going to take about 20 minutes to telling them the process. Another transitional question is literally just telling them how things go. So transitioning into stating information and telling them what needs to happen so they can get solar on the roof. So maybe you're at the door and you're like, and you give the value proposition. You're like, hey, but this is a very long process. So I want to warn you guys, it's a long process. The first step is making sure you qualify. We won't work with you. I won't work with you if I can't see a savings from day one. We run the engineering report. We're going to come back and we're going to show you. I won't come back. I'm not wasting your time. I'm not wasting my time if this doesn't make sense. If it does make sense, we're going to sit down with you. We're going to show you a way where we save you tens of thousands of dollars, gives you absolute certainty and a better quality of life. So but the first step is actually running this report. To do that, I just need the utility bill. Go grab that for me real fast. I'll finish entering in this information and then we'll schedule the consultation for you guys. Here's the other thing. There's very specific language that you want to use, and there's very specific language you don't want to use. Any setter here, you never want to say appointment. You never want to say, hey, I'm going to set you for an appointment. When you think of an appointment, what do you guys think about? When I throw the appointment out there, what are you guys thinking inside your brain?
Doctor's appointment.
Ew. What else?
Just something I gotta maintain or like be responsible for.
Yeah. Ew. I'm thinking attorney's appointment, doctor's appointment, something that I don't want to do, something that's not going to be exciting. Now, if we've reframed that word and we use the linguistic model and we say consultation, what are you thinking? Consultation.
Free. For some reason, I think checking out houses, like, which I guess is kind of a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, if you're looking for houses, consultation, that's exciting. The incantation that you'll have, the meaning that you're going to use to these specific words are very important. So if you guys are using the word appointment, I want you to take that out of your vocabulary when you're talking to solar customers. I want you to never, ever, ever use that word. And if you're ever calling to confirm appointment, I don't want you ever saying, hey, just calling to confirm our appointment today at 1 p.m. That is the worst way to ever confirm any appointment ever. Never, ever, 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 ever do it. Ever. Never, ever do it. I just got to kind of go off track for a minute. If you're ever going to confirm an appointment, this is what it should sound like. You guys ready? And I want you guys to mimic this. Hey, ran your solar savings report. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm on my way. It's going to take me about, maybe the appointment's like an hour out. I'm on my way. It's going to take us about an hour to get there. We're super excited to show this. I'll see you guys at 12 o'clock. Like, that's assumptive, assertive, and letting them know how excited you are about the savings report. Never, ever use the word, hey, I'm calling to confirm your appointment. Hey, I'm just texting to confirm. I'm just texting to remind you about our appointment. Never use that word. Never use that language. There's a very specific way that you could do this to make these people sit and to get these people excited about the consultation. Obviously, they feel like we put in the work. They feel like we did the other things and stuff that are associated with this. Here's the other part of the equation. A transitional question, once you built up the value, a transition, anytime you ask a question, you're transitioning out of what you talked about. A transitional question, any question that you ask somebody is going to redirect their attention to the question you're asking. So be very explicit about your questions and be very intentional about the questions that you're asking them. Maybe you're asking, hey, how long have you guys lived here? This is a very important question. We want to figure out how long they've lived there so we know if they've seen these price increases. We know how long they've lived in the neighborhood. We will know if they know anybody, all of these other things. Like all of the other things and stuff associated with this, any sort of a question is going to be a transition into whatever the question is that you're asking them. So like, what are your guys' high bills in the summer? Are you guys on the average bill or do you pay the high ones and the low ones? This is a transitional question. You're transitioning from the value proposition. Now you're putting it back in their court. Be intentional about every single question you ask them. Any question is a transition into whatever the question. So just to let you guys know that. So be intentional about the questions. Good questions are like, hey, good questions are questions that you know the answer to, or you know that it's going to lead you along a trail that's going to get you closer to where you want to go. I don't like to ask yes or no questions that will give me a standstill. Hey, did you guys receive the bill? I used to do this all the time. Did you guys receive the billing insert from SRP? Like 98% of the customers say what?
No, or I don't
No.
remember.
So if they're starting out with a double negative, you guys all remember my training about pace, lead. That's yes, yes. And then ask for another question that you're leading them all along a trail to get them to say yes. So like the idea behind this is like you want to ask these questions that are going to give you yeses or positive answers. Or if you're looking for a no, there's times that you'll be looking for a no. Like obviously you guys don't want to pay these price increases, right? Like obviously this is something you want to do. You guys don't want to pay a double bill. Like obviously this is something that you don't want to do. But even in that question, in that context of that question, when you think of the answer, they might say, no, yeah, no, we don't want to do that. But like even Ian saying that no is a positive transfer of energy into the right direction, right or wrong? So the very explicit questions, if you're transitioning, and I imagine a lot of you guys are probably got the set down really. The first initial contact with these people, I imagine you guys got this down really well. And I imagine for some of you guys that aren't setting the consultations, that aren't having a lot of success this week, it's when you try to transition out into asking for their business, for the bill, for the consultation, or for the close is where you guys are probably struggling with. Is this pretty accurate? Most everybody's been on here, with the exception of like Brandon and maybe Logan, have been knocking doors for a while. So you guys should have that down. I want someone to volunteer and tell me where you remember that you transitioned too soon or that you didn't transition soon enough. Who's got a story for me right now?
I got one when I was knocking with Zach. We were talking to a realtor and she ended up like freaking out when I pushed for the appointment. And yeah, that was pretty funny. But I definitely went like way too soon for the bill and for the appointment.
If you had to know, how long were you talking to her before you asked for the bill and for the appointment?
Roughly between 2 and 4 minutes.
So when you asked, how did you ask?
Actually, this was something that Yoel and Zach pointed out. I didn't actually ask a question, which I normally do. But in this situation, I don't know why I just like skipped over the actual conversation part and went straight for it, and it freaked her out like no one's business.
So what did she do? What was her freak out?
She was like, no, I just got to talk to my husband, then shut the door in my face.
So the part of the equation there is that first of all, there wasn't the decision maker there. Some other pointed questions you could ask is like, like maybe their spouse is the decision maker. You understand and realize that, but they're willing to set the consultation. You feel like they're willing to set the consultation. Good questions are like, obviously you and your husband are looking to save money, right? You and your spouse would love to have an opportunity to save money. Is that pretty accurate? Like, do you feel like having absolute certainty of better quality of life and saving tens of thousands of dollars is in alignment with your family's goals? Would you agree with that? What are they going to tell me? No, that's not in alignment with our goals. Like, dude, this is a question I know the answer to. Like, I absolutely know the answer to, because this is in alignment with everybody's goals. So like, obviously you and your husband, you guys feel like, obviously if we gave you savings, predictability, certainty, a better quality of life, this is in alignment with what your goals and what you're trying to do in life, right? Cool. Is there anything of what we talked about that really stands out that your husband or your spouse, you think they would object to? Like now you can ask them a very explicit question. And now if they give you the objection, they're thinking in the context of their spouse's mind, but a lot of times if they're giving you the objection, that's not their spouse's objection, that's their objection. Just so you guys are clear and you understand this, they're asking, if your spouse were to object with this, because you just agreed that this is in perfect alignment with everything that you guys want, what would your spouse's objection be with sitting with us? What would your spouse's objection be? Like, is it about saving money? And now if they're like, I don't know. Okay, would it be about saving money? No. Would it be about having a more comfortable life? No. Okay. Would it be about having absolute certainty in the future of the utility bills? No. Okay. So you can't see anything and I can't see anything. And in fact, I might be biased a little bit here, but I think that obviously if he knew how this worked or she knew how this worked, that you guys would do this. I think if you guys already knew this program was available, you guys would have all done this already. Like I firmly believe that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but does that sound like a pretty accurate statement? Okay, awesome. Can go grab the utility bill for me. I'm going to finish entering this in so that we can set this up and I can send this back to the engineers. Like immediately assume, obviously, if you've narrowed it down and they didn't give you any objections, like now you can narrow it down. Here's the other part of the equation here. Any sort of an objection that someone gives you is a way to transition out. So throw out an objection. Someone give me an objection.
My roof.
What about your roof?
I'm just worried about holes getting put into it and it leaking and everything.
Yeah, 100%. So your big concern is that we go and put a bunch of equipment on your roof, you have a leak, and now you're responsible for a leak, and you're probably responsible for pulling off the panels. It costs you tens of thousands of dollars, or just make your life unmanageable, right? Is that what I hear you saying?
Yep.
Perfect. Guess what? You're not alone. A lot of people feel that exact same way. In fact, the majority of customers always have that concern about what happens to the roof. So the way that our company is different in comparison to every other company out there, our company actually gives you a 25-year roof warranty. Now, this is all predicated upon your roof passing. We won't put this on your roof if your roof doesn't pass the inspection. So we look for at least the roof has to have at least 10 years on the shelf life. One of the other ways, this roof, the solar system actually gives your roof a protective layer, so it's going to extend the life of your roof. So, like, obviously, this is a big concern that everybody has, and which is why our company has stepped up and given people the peace of mind, knowing and realizing and understanding that their roof has a 25-year roof warranty. Now, let me kind of tell you about a story about John. John had the same concern. He just bought a new roof. The roof was like $18,000, and his big holdup was that he was concerned because he spent so much. He was such an investment on the roof. With us getting up there and maybe possibly causing damage, once he agreed to sit down with us and we showed him how the program worked, we showed him in writing that we're giving him a 25-year warranty. The savings, the predictability, the certainty, the better quality of life outweighed his concerns because now he had proof that we were going to protect and cover his roof for 25 years. And I imagine that that's exactly what you're looking for, because you're not just looking, you're not concerned about the roof, you're concerned about having peace of mind. And so what we have explicitly in the agreement is telling you specifically that we're going to guarantee and warranty this roof for 25 years. Now, I know that you're probably a lot like John. If we could show you massive amounts of savings, if we could show you certainty, if we could show you a better quality of life, this is something that you, and we can also show you where we give your roof that 25-year warranty that gives you peace of mind. This is something that you guys would obviously be interested in doing, right? Awesome. So when we come back, we're going to show you how that works. Go grab the utility bill for me real fast. And so I can finish entering this information. I could send this off to my engineers.
Okay,
That
awesome.
gave me a moment in time to transition out. So I answered the objection. I did the feel, felt, found. I identified with empathy. I restated their concern. And what I did is I just laid out the framework and the framework to show them that, hey, like everybody has this concern, which is why we do this. And so obviously, but you know what would outweigh? And I told them a story. I used an anecdote. I'm not expecting you guys to pull out these stories. A lot of you guys, if you have consultations that you set and people you've sold, you already have these stories. It's very important that when you sit with people or you talk with people and you gain and they tell you a lot of information, that you leverage and use those stories, especially people that have these same common objections. If they have these same common objections, you're able to overcome them. Use those stories. It's a powerful, powerful tool. This isn't just about bandwagoning. This is about social proof. And it allows you to answer the objection and transition out and show the people exactly what other people have that same concern, but they moved forward in spite of having that same sort of concern. It's going to give them the peace of mind and the confidence to pull the trigger and make the decision. But I used that big concern about the roof. I answered the objection. I didn't stay on the objection. Hey, I wonder if they believed me. I immediately was like, yeah, absolutely. Everybody has the same sort of concern. And then I transitioned out by offering the value proposition and then telling them the concern. And then I transitioned out by asking them to do something for me. Now, what I feel like I earned it because I answered the objection. I uncovered the objection. I answered the objection. I gave them peace of mind. Now it's time to transition on. After answering any single objection that somebody has, never pause and see, oh, I wonder if they believe me. You assume they believe you because you answered the objection and now you transition out. Maybe it's in the beginning of the sale. They have that same sort of concern. So maybe I don't ask for the bill. Maybe it's not time to ask for the bill yet. So maybe I ask them a different question. Maybe instead of like, hey, go grab the utility bill so I can send this back to the engineers. So like, I'm going to say, obviously, like if we show you guys a way that we save you tens of thousands of dollars, give you absolute certainty and give you a better quality life. Obviously, this is in alignment with your family's goals, with your family's goals, right? This is obviously something you guys would be interested in looking at. Cool. Perfect. Well, not everybody's going to qualify. I know you're excited right now. I'm going to put words in their mouth. I know that you're feeling some sort of excitement right now, feeling like you have some sort of relief. But the way this works is I have to send this back to the engineers to see if you even qualify. I won't work with you if I can't deliver on the things that we talked about. That usually gives people the peace of mind, knowing that I'm not going to come back and waste your time. I'm certainly not going to waste my time unless you qualify. So obviously, most people, once they hear this, they really think it's too good to be true. And they're always asking why it's too good to be true. When we come back, we show you why this looks so good. There's a government tax incentive right now. It's the Inflation Reduction Act, and there's a domestic content bill that was written in there that's giving us an additional 25%. So 55% of your solar is being paid for by the U.S. government, which is why this looks so good, which is why this looks too good to be true. So this is ending really soon. So I know you guys want to take advantage of this before it ends. And so what we need to do is we need to schedule this out. I've got either Saturday or Monday. Which day works better for you? Which time works better for you? Awesome. I just need the utility bill. Go grab that for me real fast while I finish entering in this information. Transition out. Any objection. So someone else give me a different objection. Nobody got stumped on an objection this week?
I need to think about it.
Absolutely. So what you're needing to think about is everything that we talked about here today, right? So I'm not asking you to make a decision right now. We're asking that first we got to make sure you qualify, because until I get you qualified, there's really nothing to think about, because we can't work together. I can't work with you. I won't work with you if I can't deliver on the stuff that we talked about. I can't work with you if I can't deliver immediate savings from day one. I can't work with you if I can't give you certainty, and I can't work with you if I don't deliver on the better quality of life. So how this works is I'm going to send the information back to the engineers. We're going to run the report. We're going to see if you qualify. Now, if you qualify, we come back to the house and we're going to show you what this program looks like. During that time, I'm going to send you my rep card. You can actually log onto our website and you can think about all of the stuff that, all of the reasons why this makes sense. So I know that this is in perfect alignment with what you want. I know that if you had all the information delivered to you right now, that you would be interested in doing this. But what you're telling me, when people say they want to think about it, what you're probably thinking is you're probably thinking that this is too good to be true and this doesn't exist, because we've always been taught that, right? And people that usually want to think about it, usually you guys are a little bit risk adverse. Hey, I appreciate people that are risk adverse. At the end of the day, this is your decision. At the end of the day, this is your decision. When we come back and show you all the facts, figures, and information, there's really nothing to think about, because right now we don't even know if your house qualifies. The first step is being able to run the report, making sure you qualify. Then we come back and we deliver you all the information. And at the end of the day, you either say yes or no. I'm pretty sure that if you knew how this worked, that you would have done this already. If you would have known with absolute certainty, and if you would have had all of the stuff that you could have read and researched on this thing, and you could have saw that you're literally going from here all the way and you're transcending down here, that you would have already done this. Because essentially what this looks like is it's anywhere from 30 to 50% off for your electricity bill. If you knew that you had 2 electricity choices and you could buy one for 30% less, I know for a fact that you would probably do this. All the reading is going to, all the reading and all the research is always going to come to a final conclusion when you do simple addition and subtraction. Your current bill's right here, the new utility bill's down here. This makes infinite amount more sense. So this is why people like yourself that want to do the research and they want to think about it always come to the conclusion that this is a good deal. And they typically always make this decision because when they're given the opportunity to buy their electricity from a much cheaper, cleaner source, they're always going to choose the electricity the much cheaper and cleaner. So the first step here is I run this report. I got to send this information back to the engineers and make sure you qualify. Then we come back and I'm going to present the information to you. Once again, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time if you don't qualify. Go grab the utility bill for me real fast, and I'm going to finish entering in this information so that we can set this up. Great, you got the utility bill. I have Saturday or Monday to come back and show you your solar savings report. Which day works best for you? What happens if they say they need to think about it? You didn't build up enough value for them to pull the trigger and make the decision. What happens if they're saying, hey, I need to think about it? That's a real quick brush off. They're not giving you the true objection. But now what I've done is I've framed them and I put them in a place where like, hey, obviously people that say they want to think about it, you're risk adverse and you want to make sure that you're making a good decision. So I told the person who they were as an individual. So now they feel like identified with empathy. If I need to think about it, it's not a true objection. That's a smokescreen objection. But this is one that will stump us unless we can answer it appropriately. The way that I answered that appropriately is I immediately told him, like, or told her or told them, whatever the position they were in, you're probably risk adverse, you're probably doing this, you're probably doing that. And this is why you want to be able to look at this. And then I transitioned out. So when they told you, hey, I need to think about it, what did you say?
I usually go with the, yeah, I completely understand. And then I go into how it's a long process and they're going to have as much time in the world to think about it. We're not doing anything today. We don't even know if they qualify. The appointment is just to show them something and they've got something to think about is essentially what I usually go.
So the other way that you could have answered is like, absolutely. We expect you to think about it. We expect you to research this. We expect all of this stuff to happen. You know, people feel like this is a big decision. Sometimes people feel like this is a big decision, but the facts is that this isn't a big decision. It's a very easy decision because the simplicity is additional. It's just addition and subtraction. And all you're doing is you're subtracting from your current utility bill and you're adding a better quality of life and you're adding absolute certainty. So I'm certain that when you want to research this and you read up on this and you think about it, that you're going to make this decision. Unfortunately, we're on some strict timelines. where this stuff is running out. And I would hate for you to see that you're to have to miss out. And I know that the fear of losing out is going to be a little bit more powerful than just having to do your research and do all of these other things. Usually when people are saying, I need to think about it, you haven't built up enough value. So you asked for the appointment too soon, or you didn't do a good enough value proposition at the door. You didn't make a good enough case. You didn't build up enough value. You didn't build up enough pain. And so they're like, oh yeah, how do I brush this guy off? I'm not really interested. I'm indifferent about this situation. I don't really want to work with this guy. He didn't make a good enough case to me. So I'm going to tell him I need to think about it, and he can check back with me in about 10 years. So like, you didn't build up enough value. So now you got to go back like, oh, I understand you want to think about, maybe you go back there and you build value. Like 1 second here, let's so I understand, just so we're clear. So if we give you a way that you save tens of thousands of dollars, have more certainty, have a better quality of life, like what is it that you would need to think about? Because I know that if you knew how this program worked, that you would have absolutely 100% done this. I believe that everybody would have done this. I believe when we give people an opportunity to choose between two companies, one is 60% more expensive and the other one's less, like people are always going to choose a less one because it's the same service, it's the same functionality. This isn't like a generic brand. This is the same energy that you're already continuously using. So now maybe you go back there and you build a little bit more value. If you're getting that common objection, you're not building up enough value at the door. You're not creating enough urgency. Remember, you got to create enough urgency. You got to assume the sell, and you got to build the value and stuff inside the value proposition.
All right, thank you. Yep.
Is there anybody else that got stumped on an objection this week? You guys
I have a big one, and I've always struggled with this one. It's when they mention, is this solar? And after that, I usually can never overcome that.
Okay, we just did this. I just did this training today. Or I just did this training this week working with somebody. So Diego, if they say, is this solar, what's your what do you say?
I usually say that this is a lot different. You don't need to take out a loan, nor they need to put a lien in your property. It's just the same virtual power plants the schools, the hospitals, and even churches use. As long as you're paying into a surcharge, we can help you qualify.
Okay. So one of the things you guys understand is when a customer asks you, is this solar, who's in control, you or them?
Them.
Yep. Me and Jesse just went over this, right? So if I ask, if you come to my door and I'm like, is this solar? And you guys, everybody's been asked this question. When they ask us this question, typically most of you guys are thinking, oh shit, they're going to close the door on my face. I've got to explain my situation, right? I'm going to give you the coup de grace right here. Are you ready? You ready? We just did the training on Wednesday. So yes, is this solar? Hey, I'm assuming you probably get a lot of solar guys knocking on your door, which is why you asked me that, right? So what is it that you hate about solar? Just so I can take you off the list. I just took back complete and utter control. I'm not having to explain my position. Who's explaining their position at this point?
Them.
Them. When I ask you a question, what are you compelled to do?
Answer.
Like, here's the thing. Like, is this solar? Hey, do you get a lot of solar guys that knock on your door? Like, you got a ton of solar? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take you off the list, but what is it that you hate about solar? Like immediately, or like have you said, or like immediately I take back control without answering the question. You're not compelled to answer the question. We're sales professionals. Who takes control, them or us? Who's the trained sales professional, them or us? We're the trained sales professionals. We take control. We don't give the control unless we're intentional about it. We take back control. Whoa. Hey, do you get a ton of solar guys that knock on your house? Is that why you asked me that? Awesome. Hey, have you sat down with any of those guys? Have you ever sat, or do you just kick them off your doorstep because they're untrained sales professionals? Like anything that you can ask them, now you ask them a question without answering them. You're answering the question, but you're asking the question and you're going to seize back control. And Diego, if you're walking to their door and they're asking you is it solar, they're like, you say yes, they're like, not interested, slam. They're not interested because they had a bunch of scrubs come to their house that couldn't make a good value proposition and couldn't ever convince them to make a decision to do this. Or they sat down with an untrained sales professional. He did a terrible job, and now they have preconceived misconception on how this works with. So we know for a fact this program is completely different. This value proposition is completely different than anybody's been approached with before, because now we have battery options. We also have a ridiculously low price on energy that we can charge them. We know this, but rather than us being on our heels explaining our value proposition, now we're asking them. And by the way, when you're asking them, when you pose back a question to them, you transition out of your position, and now you're transitioning into their position, and you're putting them on their heels. Now, here's the other thing, is when you ask them information, is this solar? Hey, so you get a ton of solar guys that knock on your house probably, right? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what is it that you hate about solar then? What is it that, just so I can mark you off a list? Like, immediately, it takes the emphasis from, it takes the attention from us, and it puts the attention back onto them, and now they're answering us versus us answering them. So, and by the way, let's put this into context. What are you selling? What are you selling? Like, this is another one. You get a lot of sales guys that knock on your door? Oh, yeah, you do? Are any of them selling Girl Scout cookies? Okay, none of them selling. Are any of them selling Teslas? What are they selling? What are they typically selling in your house? Now, immediately what I've done is I diffused the situation and I put the attention. Now they're thinking about their answer rather than me on my heels, thinking about how I'm going to answer this so that they don't close the door on me. The chances are, Diego, even when you're telling them that what you told them, which was a good answer, by the way, that was a good answer. You can tell this guy knocks doors. That was a great answer. But the problem with that, the emphasis is on that, is that you're on the defensive. Anybody play chess on here? Anybody play chess? In a chess game, your position to win is always to be on the offensive. If you're on the defensive, you're just reacting to every move they do. So what's best to be, this is why white is always typically the best color to start with, because you're first and the other player is contingent, his moves are contingent upon your moves. What we want to do is we want to be the best Magnus. We want to be the Magnuses out there, and we want to be in the position that we're always in control, and we're the guys making the moves, and the customers having to react to what we're doing, not us reacting to what they're doing. And so any question when someone, especially this would be like, is this solar? Because what they want to know is this solar? Hey, I don't want any more of my time wasted because I've had a bunch of scrubs that were untrained sales professionals just coming to my door, burning my door, wasting my time because they couldn't let me know how this program really works, and they weren't trained sales professionals. You guys are all trained sales professionals. So what we do is we immediately take back control, and you immediately pose another question. And essentially, any question that somebody asks you, you can ask them a question. We've all heard of the therapist. You ask the therapist a question, and the therapist, you know, he chess moves, he white chess moves you, and they ask you another question that gets you thinking. So rather than getting an answer to your question, and sometimes even if you ask a question, they pose a question back to you, and you figure out the answer. So like that objection, and this is a very common objection, especially when we're out in Arizona, because this area is super saturated, right? I mean, there's like, so it's kind of saturated. It's probably not the most saturated area in the United States, but it's a pretty saturated market. It's a sunny state of the country. So immediately when they pose that question, you ask them a question. And immediately you start, and then you open it up with some open dialogue. Hey, before I get out of here, what is it that you hate about solar? Now they're usually going to say one or two things. They're going to tell you what they hate about it, right? Now that gives us an opportunity to sell on the objection. Or they're going to say, I don't really hate solar. I'm just sick to death of people knocking on my door. You guys keep bugging me. Dude, 100%. I understand. You're real busy. Everybody's super busy. So I understand that 100%. So you're probably just annoyed that people keep knocking on your door. And what you're probably most annoyed about is that nobody can give you the actual answers to what you're looking for. But let me tell you why this is really important that you listen. Let me just tell you, I'm going to be real brief. I'm not going to take a bunch of your time. This is really important because of this or this or this or this or this. This is why the neighbors have actually taken advantage of it, because of this and this and this and this and this. So now it puts you back in control. Now you're actually giving the customers information, but you open it up with some sort of dialogue. So the next time somebody asks you, is this solar, what are you guys going to say?
Oh wow, you must be knocked a lot by solar guys. So what is it about solar that you hate? So I could just take you
No,
off the list.
Josh, no. You didn't ask a question. You're making a statement. You're like, yeah, I hate you guys. Get the fuck off my doorstep. Leave. Dude, whoa. You guys, you're making a statement. This is not a statement. This is a question. There's the two parts of the question. Whoa. You probably you get a ton of solar guys that's knocking on your door. Like you're giving a statement that once again, dude, you want to immediately ask a question because it redirects their attention and now puts them on their heels versus you on the heels. Don't make a statement. This is what it sounds like. Is this solar? Dude, whoa, you get a ton of solar guys that knock on your door every single week. Is that the case? Yes, I do. What is it that you hate about solar? Like why is it that you want to know right away so you can slam the door on our face? Like what is it that you hate about it? But so I can take you off the list. Now we act like we're leaving, right? Now it diffuses the situation. When I ask them, hey, so I can take you off the list, what is it that you hate about solar? They're going to tell me like, oh, I don't like this, or I don't like this. They feel like I'm leaving. I'm going to take them off the list. I'm not taking them off the list. I'm not taking anybody off the list. But they feel like I diffused the whole situation. So I took this high pressure, intense moment, and I just lower that down by asking and posing a question. And now what I'm asking a two-part question. Now you can even ask them like, you don't have to say, well, what is it? I'm going to take you off the list, but what is it that you hate about solar? This is going to open it up to give them, now they're answering you and they're giving you all of the reasons and information that the reason why they don't like solar, this or that, and whatever. Or you ask them, hey, I know that they're like, yeah, you guys knock on my door all the time. I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. Did you sit down with somebody and it just didn't make sense? Or what is it that you just didn't like about solar people? And they're going to tell you. And then now you're opening it up for dialogue. Any information they give you is used for leverage inside of a sale. So this is why it's really important. A lot of sales guys, myself included, want to do a lot of the talking because I feel like I'm in absolute control when I'm talking. What I've found throughout doing this for a very long period of time is that when I pose a question, I ask a question, it's putting them to give me the information, and that information could be better used to serve this customer at the absolute highest level at the end of the term. And by the way, this is all transitions. These are all transitions. You answering a question, hey, is this so? You answer, that's not a transition. That is like you getting pigeonholed into making a value proposition and hoping that they don't close the door on your face. If you can now pose the question, what is it like you get a ton of solar guys that knock on your house, I'm assuming. This is why you asked me that. And they're going to tell you, yeah, I do. I get a ton of solar guys. Okay, awesome. What is it that you hate about solar? Like, why haven't you have you sat with any of them? What is it that you hate about it? They're going to tell you all the information. At that point, now they're going to give you the objections on really why they didn't sit with anybody. And now it's up to you as a trained sales professional to figure out how to serve those people. Whatever objection they give you, now you end up serving that. You turn that around and you use that as a positive rather than negative. We're going to take one more objection. What's up, Diego? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, big time. I appreciate you a lot, Luke.
Okay. All right. One more objection before we get off.
This just isn't a good time for us to buy anything right now.
Okay. So that's absolutely. So I'm sorry. You must have mistaken. I'm not selling anything. Actually, this is my job. I'm not trying to sell you a solar system today. In fact, like when you say it's not a good time for you guys to buy anything right now, is it because you've had a bunch of financial stuff come up? Is that where it's at?
Yeah, we just redid our roof, bought a new car.
Wow. That's a huge investment, especially the roof, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So this is why this program is so good. Let me kind of tell you why. I'm not here to sell you anything. We're not here to sell you a big, expensive solar system with a huge loan attached to it. What we're here to do is we're here to deliver you energy prices that are sometimes 40, 50, 60% less. Let me tell you, people in your exact same position, a lot of the neighbors out here have just replaced the roofs. I've seen roofs as much as $20,000. I've seen them as low as $12,000. That was a huge financial investment. And these people obviously are not in a position to be able to buy anything, right? You just had this huge financial investment on your roof. The good news about this particular program is that we're not trying to convince you to do that. All we're doing is we're a new electricity company, and we're here to show you how your energy rate can go to 30 to 40 to 50% less because you buy it off your rooftop. I'm not here to sell you a solar system. We own, guarantee, and maintain the solar system. But here's why you should look at this, because you just had a huge financial investment. Now what this program does, if you qualify, it puts tens of thousands of dollars back in your pocket. So I want you to take a stack of cash this big and put that back in your pocket, because that's what this program entails. Now, I know you're thinking that this looks too good to be true, and I will openly admit it does look too good to be true. It's because the government passed an Inflation Act that had a domestic content bill in there that the government's paying for a large percentage of the system. And all we're trying to do is earn your business as the new electricity company. And the benefit for you is it's 30, 40, 50% less. If you qualify, by the way, I won't work with you if there's any out of pocket. I'm not going to work with you if I can't see savings from day one. I'm only going to work with you if I save you tens of thousands of dollars. I'm only going to work with you if this gives you absolute certainty in the future of your utility bills. And I'm only going to work with you if this gives you a better quality of life. I won't work with you if I can't deliver on those things. Now, I know that if I asked you, do you want certainty? You would say yes. Do you want to save money? You would say yes. Do you want to be in a position where you can have a better quality of life? You would say yes to all three of those things, right? Absolutely. That's what this program entails. I know it sounds too good to be true. This is actually ending because Trump came in office. He signed 23 executive orders, and this bill is going to end. But right now, we're being able to take advantage of the government subsidizing this, which is why we're not selling you a solar system. All we're trying to do is be the new electricity provider and benefit you. So I know that if you knew how this worked, you would have already done this. I'm not here to sell you anything. Keep your cash in your pocket. You have to still continue to pay off your car. You might have to still have to continue to pay off your roof. That's not what this deal's about. So if I can show you these things, obviously you guys would be interested in at least seeing what this program looks like, right? Absolutely. So how this works, I send the bill back to the engineers. I won't work with you if I can't meet the criteria that we just talked about. So we send this back to the engineers. Not everybody's going to qualify. If there was a way that I was going to have to ask you for any out-of-pocket expense for you guys to get the program off the ground, I wouldn't be able to come back to the house. If I wasn't saving money from day one, I won't come back to the house. Go grab the utility bill for me so I can send this back to the engineers and see if I could qualify you guys for tens of thousands of dollars in savings. Just like that. So Phil felt found, story, social proof, bandwagon closed. And then what I did is I just came in and I told them exactly their position. And I gave them, I'm not going to work with you. I challenge all you guys, every one of you on this call should specifically, confidently, assertively tell people, I'm not going to work with you if I can't deliver on this. This is a very bold statement, and it puts you in the needed, not the needy. Be the needed, not the needy. So love you guys. Take what you learn from here and apply it on the doors. There's some very specific word tracks that we do here specifically. There's the words that I'm using, the linguistic model that I'm using, that everyone on this call should be using on the doors. The other thing is, remember, you're intentional about the transitional questions that you ask these people. Be intentional about this. Build enough value that you can feel like you can transition out, ask for the consultation, ask for the business, or ask for the bill. Love you guys. Let's finish strong. We've got Saturday and Sunday. Let's go.